Howdy soldiers. My hair's grown out so much. Look at this cute little bob we're rocking. Ooh, I feel adorable. I also feel a little bit like a grandfather. I guess it's apropos of me to be wearing what looks like a professor's uniform, because we are in fact today talking about books. Wow, can't believe you guessed that. What a genius, newest, most, are you a prophet? Or you've been chosen by the gods, obviously, if you got that fact right. Okay, so when 2021 hit, I was like, straight out the gate, we're gonna be reading these books up. Oh, it's gonna be, pages are gonna be flying. Read my entire Goodreads goal in like 2 weeks. And then, as you probably can guess, that didn't happen. Hey, my little book dragon, what's going on? Come here. Why are you so angry? You gonna come grace my video for a little bit? Why are you so mad? So I read an abysmal 6 books this January 2021, which I know to some people is also a lot, but to me, that's, I'm sorry, do you have something to say? That being said, I think that I read one of the best books of 2021 so far in just this month. So let's just start right now. We're gonna get into it with... Oh god, I thought it was gonna be fun, but then the whole book stack almost fell over. We're gonna talk about Lore by Alexandra Bracken. Now, as every queer student in elementary school was, I was obsessed with Greek mythology, and so having a new, fun, fast-paced banger of a novel with the Greek mythology setting was just perfect. So for the last couple millennia, every 7 years there's something called an aegon, where the Greek gods of old get transported to Earth in a human vessel, and within those 7 days they are hunted by multiple families of god killers, and they can only be killed if they are killed during those 7 days in their human form. It's like the Olympics, but with murder. Our main character Lore is one of the last of her line of hunters, just as the new aegon begins, and she ends up accidentally teaming up with a dying goddess and a old friend that she thought was dead. And then isn't. Surprise. We have some fun and funny Greek god shenanigans going down, but we also have good commentary on like violence breeding violence and cycles of revenge that don't really get anybody anywhere. This is an incredibly bloody book, which I personally happen to like, because like, yes, I love the mass murder of fantasy cults, and nothing gets me in the mood more than 2 young, hot, God's chosen people making out after cutting someone's thumbs off. And Lore herself is incredible. Like, I love a girl with a little darkness in her heart, and she is more than that. Like, she is just fury. She's rage. And seeing her both use that rage and overcome that rage were absolutely fantastic character development. I love this whole thing, and I actually wish this had been a series. Ooh, somebody just pulled up in my neighbor's driveway, and my window's open and I'm not wearing pants. Please don't look up, sir. And then up next is a book that I unfortunately did not quite enjoy, although Lore did set a very high precedent, and that is Into the Heartless Woods by Joanna Ruth Meyer. And this is yet another Beauty and the Beast retelling, except it's a gender-swapped version where the girl is the beast, and she's a tree siren. Like, this takes the whole Save the Trees thing to a whole new level. Our Beauty is this teenage boy named Owen who lives with his father, who is a astronomer, on the edge of the Heartless Wood, which is this magical enchanted forest that is home to a terrible magical queen and her 7 tree siren daughters. That one day when he has to go after his younger sister who wanders too far into the woods, he meets this one tree siren. They begin to have a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet type thing until, of course, oh my god, the Beauty and the Beast plotline kicks in, and then, it's just dangerous, and oh no, and the king gets involved, and there's some ancient magic, and then there's this really cool battle with, like, trees moving, which, oh my god, I love that so much. Okay, the second Narnia movie, Prince Caspian, was garbage. But the thing at the very end with the trees, that's how I imagined this. I don't know why, but tree magic speaks to me. And then some beautiful stuff about astronomy and astrology and the stars and like magic being tied to celestial bodies, and I studied physics astronomy last semester, so like I'm an expert now. I think the reason I didn't like this is exactly the reason why I did like Echo North so much. And I had this epiphany at like 11:30 p.m, which is when I think of these things. And that is, in Echo North, the way that she narrates the story is very like legendary and kind of like sitting around a campfire while someone tells you this epic tale sort of thing. So it's a little bit less personal and like you're on the outside looking in. To me, like Beauty and the Beast is more of like an interpersonal connection than it is about like the entire world by itself, despite the fact that we do get both of their points of view and we both dive fairly deeply into the power dynamics that keep each of them where they are. But I don't know, this is just like okay for me, and I'm really sad I didn't like it more, but I do think a lot of people are going to like this, so I do highly recommend it. It just wasn't my favorite. I swear to god I have the object permanence of a toddler, so I just remembered that I have a book that I need to put like the picture up for. So let's talk about A Touch of Darkness by, damn it, Scarlett St. Clair. Third time's charm. And this is a Hades and Persephone retelling, which is something that I've been looking for a very long time, and I can't find a good one. And unfortunately, I will have to keep going because this one wasn't very good either. I found it refreshing, but also a little ridiculous that this whole thing is set in kind of like a alternative reality, real world, and Persephone is daylighting as a journalist, and Hades runs this exclusive club, and then, oh, the surprise, there's like a portal to the underworld in the upstairs bathroom, which who knows at clubs these days. Again, this is something that's like, maybe it's not my genre, but I felt like all the plot development just got pushed to the side for them to have kinky sex. And not to kink shame, but it was bad. We got places to be and stuff to do, like, let's go. Although playing rock, paper, scissors with the god of the dead really gets me. And stereotyping that Hades drinks whiskey all the time is like, it's boring, it's done. Why can't he like mimosas instead? That would make the whole story better. In this book, the characters are just straight up telling you the storyline. Like, I just stop monologuing for like 1 second. Let me figure it out myself, okay? I'm not a child. I'm reading about some weird shit right now. Like, I'm sure I can put together some plot points. Honestly, the fact that her boss cares so much about workplace satisfaction and has a high degree of caring for mental health in the office, I'm like, that's the most unrealistic thing that happened in this entire book. It was okay, wasn't my favorite, wasn't the worst, but I'm still gonna be on that quest to find a good retelling that I connect with. And then next up, I have a cover that might just blind you with how beautiful it is, so just shield your eyes, get your sunglasses, be prepared. Oh! Thank God, it took my own breath away, and I've had this for like a whole month. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse is a very beautifully written adult fantasy that focuses on the cultures and folklores of pre-Columbian America, particularly mixing the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Native American cultures into this really cool world that I was all for. This follows a couple characters that are on both sides of religion and magic, and the kind of politics between all of the different tribes and cults that are in this one town. On one hand, we have a siren pirate captain who's ferrying this scarred monk to a city for a big ritual when apparently the world is going to be eaten by this crow god, and he has to be there in time. Then on the other hand, we have 4 priests of this one city that they are being ferried to that are in the middle of kind of some political turmoil. I love this macabre scarred saint. He is so interesting. His raven cult is fascinating to me, and I wish that they had dived a little bit more into that. And I think that's kind of my problem with this book, is that it's not even a problem, it's just like a want. I wanted more of a lot of things. I wanted more of the Crow Riders. Like, we get like 4 chapters of them, and I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, bring them back? We get to talk a little bit to a witch, but only for like 3 pages. And I'm like, where did you, hello? Where'd you go? And then it's like, shape-shifting mermaids? Matriarchal siren societies? What? Because she took advantage of an underutilized set of cultures, I want the world and the mythology and the hierarchies between people to be so interesting. We don't really focus on the Americas. You know, we tend to focus on European folklore or Mediterranean folklore, Greek gods, Beauty and the Beast. It's like not something that I think the general public would have looked at, but like everybody's gonna want this cover. Second to last is also something that I don't physically have because I got it online. White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I'm not the hugest fan of Jennifer L. Armentrout. Like, I actually quite like Storm and Fury, but I thought that From Blood and Ash, which is her newest one, is awful. However, I've seen one of the people that I follow on book TikTok, I think it's Reese Really Reads, she loves this book, and so I was like, alright, I'm persuaded to buy it. I'll spend $1.99 on this at the Kindle store, and honestly, I got $1.99's worth of enjoyment out of it. It's sort of a prequel, but I really liked her world because it's about, like, gargoyles and fallen angels and demons. You can always sign me up for a hot demon prince. Red Storm and Fury, this book focuses on the backstory of Layla, and I read this like 3 days ago, I should know, and the Demon Prince Roth, who both make an appearance in Storm and Fury. So I did like that, and I like this world, but I think I had the same issue with this book that I had with her other books. Of course, I haven't read all of them, so I can't say this for certain, but I'm noticing a pattern here, and that is that she can't decide if she wants her characters to be these sexy, hardcore warrior badasses, like kicking ass and taking names, or if she wants them to be these, like, demure, virginal maidens who don't know anything and need to be saved all the time. and it's just, it's odd because like it breaks up the story, and I felt like the pacing was so off because she'd be blushing and you know, afraid the one moment, and the next moment she's like, I can do it, and then goes into like, runs into the fray and like fights some demons and making some snarky jokes, and then the next sentence being like, oh I don't know, it's just, I'm not sure if I can be that kind of girl, and I'm like, bitch, make up your mind. So like, I didn't hate this book, but I'm not gonna read the sequel, but I might read the sequel to Storm and Fury. So if they make another cameo, I won't be mad at it. And lastly, of the 6 books that I finished this January is the one that I finished most recently, and that is Cast in Firelight by Dana Swift. I almost DNF'd this book, guys. Like, I got a good 100 pages in, and I was like, it's not worth it, I hate this, but I stuck it out, and I ended up really liking it. This is about 2 rival heirs to kingdoms that are being brought together in an arranged marriage, but the 2 of them haven't met since they were children, and when they are both brought into the same city to get married, they bump into each other on the street and start to fall in love without realizing who the other person is. And while they're undercover, they're trying to solve this mystery that's involved with magic and politics and how both of their kingdoms are kind of involved. Gotta say, their romance was really well done. That's kind of like Romeo and Juliet, enemies to lovers. This did it right. The whole political mystery thing was kind of like whatever, it was just a backdrop for them to have adventures to, which I also will give her credit to. She's very good at writing fight scenes, and that's the reason that I almost put this down in the first place, is because of the writing. Oh my god, it is so, like, I'd say the first couple 100 pages are 2008 Wattpad fan fiction. My lord! This book is in first person, and a lot of it is, I know cringe culture is dead, but like, it was so cringy. There's like characters literally being like, oh no, I thought to myself, I sure shouldn't have done that. And I hated these goofily named chapter titles. Like, what is this, Percy Jackson? And this is also probably just a me thing, but I despise, I feel the anger from the bottom of my soul that she uses the word blood as a curse. Like, blood, I cursed. I'm like, I have to go. You literally could have just written, I cursed, and called it done. Or if you're going to, you know, you're gonna write a fantasy world and you're going to make up a swear word, make it better than blood, because it was also very confusing because blood is just used as a word in this series, and it's like just totally normal, so sometimes it's like blood, and I'm like, is that bad? Or is that, are we just describing a descriptor word? What's happening here? So I'm not gonna read the sequel, and I'm gonna take this back to the store, just because the highs, like the good points of this book were really good, but then the low points of this book, like my back hurts from bending that low. So there you have it. There are all the books that I read in January. I also feel like mentioning that I started a lot of books in January and just didn't get around to reading them after like the first couple chapters. I've been in a big slump this month. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, yes, of course, school started again. The existential dread has been renewed for another year. Please leave down below if you yourself have finished any of these books, or if you've read more, read less, what you've been up to, you know. Not that I really need any more for my TBR pile, but I'm always looking. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!